And quite honestly, I say so not just because we share a common school, that's Punjab Public School, Nava, where he studied and I taught. Of course, there was an intervening period of 6 months. Had I joined a little earlier, I would have had the privilege of teaching him personally. General Vikram Singh, our chief guest for the day, Mr. Sudha Kuchar, founder trustee, Mr. Rakesh Kuchar, our chairman, Mr. Himanshu Kuchar, our director, distinguished guests, parents, staff members of all categories. And when I say all categories, I mean all, teachers, admin staff, and support staff. Together, they are the backbone of the school. And dear children, for whom we have all collected here today. Last but not the least, the esteemed parents sitting opposite the children and distinguished guests. We are delighted to see you all with us today, and on behalf of the school, especially the children, I'd like to welcome the parents and the guests. We as a school think that it's our great good luck that General Vikram Singh agreed to be the chief guest for our first Sports Day program. In fact, no person could have been better. For the simple reason, he is an excellent role model for the children. His is a shining example of a young boy of your age working studiously and with confidence throughout his life and reaching where he has through sheer merit and without ever doing anything which any of his friends would say is unbecoming of an army officer. That in today's society and today's India, where talk is there all the time of taking shortcuts in order to reach where you want and in order to reach there speedily is on all the time. It's very important to stress on this aspect, that the general was always particular about the means he is using. And I can say this with confidence because this is what I've gathered from his officers who have worked with him personally, who have known him in his formations and in the headquarters. Second, and equally important, he is a thinking general. What probably may come as a surprise to a lot of people is, had he not decided to become a soldier, an officer, a general, he would have become a doctor. Because his first love in school were botany and zoology. He was very good at both the subjects. But after he saw the wars in 1965 particularly, he decided he'd rather be an officer in the Indian Army than a doctor in a hospital. Because there were a lot of doctors to take care of people, very few able, distinguished children joining the Indian Army. Somebody asked him that if he began his life all over again and he had a choice to choose a career, what would he do? He said he'd join the army. And predictably he said he'll join the Indian Army. It is such officers and such people who are keeping our society and our country together and are keeping it functioning and moving ahead. in spite of all the impediments. Therefore, such people must be celebrated, recognized, and emulated. This is why myself as an individual, I have no doubt, I have no hesitation in saying that, and the entire school is so happy and so excited that General Singh is with us here today. As I said, General Singh is a thinking general. He is a great strategist and a great tactician. He can plan movement of huge divisions at the same time, and he can also plan movement of small commando groups. And therefore, in his training as an infantry officer, he was adjudged the best commando and got the commando dagger. I'm sure you would understand why I'm taking more than I normally do in a welcome and introduction address. There is a palpable reason for it. Being on the top for him is a habit. It just comes to him naturally. When he was at the Punjab Public School, Nabha, he got the top grades. When he joined the National Defence Academy at Khadakwasla, he got the top grades. When he moved to Indian Military Academy in Dehradun, much the same thing happened. After that, he attended the West Point Academy, of course, after an interregnum interval. He joined the West Point Academy in USA. Again, he was right on the top. What happened at the infantry school, I've already told you. I've already mentioned, that's what I mean. During the Kargil War, he was director of military operations, and he was also the Indian Army's chief spokesman. He, before becoming the chief, has held number of very crucial and very important assignments. I'll mention only a few. He was General Officer commanding Eastern Command. He was Commander Rashtriya Rifles. He was General Officer commanding of multinational Eastern Division in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And there, he was not working just with people from all over India. He was working with men and officers from all over the world. And people say, who were in the Foreign Service, he did that with great distinction to both himself and the country, that is India. It's not surprising that such an individual, such a soldier, such a general should have received huge recognition. Therefore, we find he was decorated with the Sena Medal, Videsh Sena Medal, Param Vishisht Seva Medal, Uttam Yuddha Seva Medal, and Ati Vishisht Seva Medal. In July 2014, after a long and distinguished career in what, without argument, I can say is one of the most powerful armies in the world, that's the Indian Army, he retired. While in the army, he also served as chairman of Chiefs of Staff Committee. I would also like to take this opportunity to strike a personal note. I consider myself extremely fortunate to be working in Shreejee International School, first and foremost because it has very affectionate and very respectful children and who are ready to learn. Second, and which is equally important, it has a team of devoted, young and enthusiastic teachers. The kind of teachers we have, I have a feeling they'll remain young even after 30, 40 years, because that's in their spirit. Equally important is the fact that we have a very cooperative set of parents and a management, the best that any school can have. I would especially like to thank the chairman, Mr. Rakesh Kutchal, and the director, Mr. Himanshu Kutchal. Both of them have been a great source of strength and support, not only to me, but to the humblest individual in the school at all times. I would like to close, but before closing, there are just two things I'd like to mention. One, this sports day that we are witnessing today is more than an event for us. It's like a huge classroom for us. It's an educational exercise. That is why each and every child of the school has taken part in it. This you would experience yourself when you see events. Normally, in large number of schools, if you find there are weaklings, you weed them out and you put only the best on display. We have avoided that temptation. All children have taken part in the athletic meet which has been on for quite some time and which reaches its culmination today. As far as athletics are concerned, we'd be able to see only some of the final events. We would have liked you to see all, but that would have kept you on the ground for good 6 hours. We didn't want that to happen. What is it that the children have learned during the sports day? I think parents would be interested to know that. First, they have learned how to challenge their physical efficiencies, stamina, and get acquainted with the limits of their physical energy and the way to expand it. Second, all children have learned that there is something higher than the self and self-interest. That's the team and the goal which the team has to achieve. During the sports day, as you see the children standing here and sitting there, it's a burning example. They have learned how to work together for the common goal. That's something our country needs over and above everything else. Before I close, I would once again like to welcome the General, all the distinguished guests, and all the parents, and say how very thankful we are to see all of you here today. Jai Hind.